Today we're going to cook a recipe with lamb shanks. It's no particular name because it's something I've made up along the way. So our ingredients are, I've got today 4 lamb shanks. Vegetables I'm going to put into this recipe is leek, celery, carrot, onion, garlic, some mushrooms, bay leaves, some rosemary, either dried or fresh, and then we're also going to add some white wine, tin of tomatoes and beef stock, some cinnamon and a bit of salt and pepper. So now we'll start by flouring the lamb shanks to brown them in the pan. So the first step is to put some oil in our pan, which we have done, and now we're going to flour the lamb shanks so we can brown them in the pan. I've lit the gas, so while that's heating up, we'll flour our lamb shanks. So now we're going to slightly flour our lamb shanks. Put them in the preheated pan. You don't want to use too much oil because lamb already is a little bit oily, so we don't want too much oil at the end of the recipe, so just a little bit of oil just to brown them nicely. Now I'll finish the rest of the lamb shanks. So our lamb shanks are nicely browned. Now I'm going to cook these today in a slow cooker, so I'll place them into there. That's because you want to go out for the day and come home to have a meal already cooked, ready for us. But you can cook this on the stove if you like. Just cook them a couple of hours quite slowly, or even in the oven for even a longer time. 150 for a few hours, they'll be beautiful. So now I'm going to prepare our vegetables to go into the slow cooker as well. The next step is to prepare our vegetables for frying to go into the slow cooker. Now I've chopped the celery ready to cut up. The leaves I'm going to reserve for later. I'll explain why. I'm going to make a gremolata later on. But so the celery, just slice through this all quite rustically. A bit of a chop, quite small actually. We're going to do the carrot in larger chunks a bit later on, but the celery, the leek and the onion, we'll cut those quite small to go into the slow cooker first. So now in our pan we've put a little bit of oil, put the chopped up celery, the chopped up leek, chopped onion and the garlic. So now I want just to cook really slowly for about 10 minutes, just so it really softens. You don't need it to brown it, just so it softens and cooks well. Now while that's cooking, we're going to prepare our carrots. So the carrot, I'm actually going to leave in quite large pieces. I want this to make this a full meal tonight. Then you can add whatever you like. You can add some potatoes or maybe zucchini, whatever you'd like to add to make it a full meal. So just quite large pieces of carrot. So okay, now we're going to add these to our slow cooker. So we place these in our slow cooker with the lamb shanks. On top of that, we're going to put our softened vegetables, our onion and celery and garlic and leek. So in the pan, or in the slow cooker, now goes our vegetable mixture. On top of this, I'm going to place my dry ingredients, a couple of bay leaves, some rosemary, fresh or dried. Rosemary goes beautifully with lamb. About a teaspoon of cinnamon, a bit more for the pot, some pepper, and of course some salt. Okay, now we'll get our wet ingredients organised. So now we're going to place in some beef stock. I put 1 teaspoon of stock, the dry beef stock with some about a cup of water to dissolve that. Tin of tomatoes that have been chopped up. A good glass of white wine. Chardonnay would be my choice, but whatever you have in the fridge. Now on top of that, just going to place my mushrooms, and they will just cook beautifully in that sauce. So when you come home, you've got some beautiful mushrooms that are just full of flavour. Okay, now the lid goes on, and that will cook all day while we're out. For about high, maybe for an hour first if you can. If not, put on medium or low, depending on how long you're going to be out for, and then come home to a beautifully smelling aroma in the kitchen and a great dinner. Right, so we come home from our day trip. This has been on cooking on medium for about 5 to 6, probably 6 hours by now, and looking so delicious and smelling. I wish you could smell the beautiful aroma coming out of this lamb shank casserole. But there's quite a bit of oil on top, so what I want to do now is scoop off the oil, and then I'll attempt to thicken it a bit with some corn flour. So I've just got 2 heaped teaspoons of corn flour in here mixed in a small amount of water. I'm just going to add this to the casserole, just make it a little bit thicker. And while this is continuing to cook, I'm going to make the gremolata. Yum, it's looking so beautiful. So for the gremolata, I'm going to finely chop up some parsley and those reserved celery leaves I had from before. A couple of garlic cloves, and also the zest of a lemon, and I'll place those in a bowl. So also to the chopped up parsley and garlic, I added the lemon juice and also the lemon rind, also some lemon juice, about half the lemon, and also about half a teaspoon of salt. So now we're going to put about, I don't know, just sprinkle this gremolata on top, like so, just to cook through, and the rest we can serve on our plates with the lamb shank recipe. So now I'm going to let that simmer for a bit longer while I go and make some mashed potato.